What's up, everybody? I'm here with my co host, Nick, and we're doing a little bit of a different thing. So instead of just a mailbag, we thought we'd do a Friday night symbolic or symbolism potluck where we're just taking symbols and we're throwing them out to you and seeing what you can do with them. And we're going back and forth on it. So, Nick, go ahead and tell them what you got coming up, what you got, where they can find you, and everything else.
Sure. Yeah, the Occult Rejects. You can find that on all major podcasts, and then we also on what else? BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. One thing I will mention though also is that you might actually find more stuff on the audio. So that's just something, or maybe find things released earlier on audio. So definitely check out the audio for people that are constantly watching YouTube. And if you don't mind, let me actually promote the stickers and the shirts too.
Absolutely.
We got free stickers. We got this going. This beauty right here. Got that. If you want the free stickers, just email me or DM me on Twitter or Instagram, and I will send those out. If you have any stories for Headless for his mailbag, include your address. He'll send it over to me, and I'll send you stickers as well. We also got t-shirts now. Same image right there that I showed the girl with the seashell. You got that, and we do have another image, the silent rainbow, that I have posted a lot. We got those on black t-shirts, medium, large, and extra large, $25 shipped. And I'll have those shirts at the events that we're going to. We do have a bunch of events. I have that posted on my end. But yeah, there's a couple events that we'll be going to in October and November, and the shirts are basically to help pay for like the Airbnb and the traveling, because I will be traveling and having to stay places. So yeah, the shirt will actually help promote us getting to these events too, if you buy any. So yeah, check out the show notes if you want to see where the events will be, and yeah, DM me on Twitter, Instagram, or email me if you want any shirts or stickers. Thank you. And if you buy a shirt, I throw in some stickers as well.
Plus, that shirt is a great conversation starter. If you want to start to explain to people a little bit of the optic eye symbolism that Nick has covered so many times.
Yeah, that is interesting. I do forget to mention that. The one with the seashell, I mean, it is a depiction of kind of like the birth of Venus, obviously, of the inside the eyeball. So I mean, it could be a good conversation starter, like my man's saying right here. You'd be like, oh, do you know what this is? It's just a depiction of the inside of the eye. And you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and it makes so much sense with Aphrodite too. It's like you desire what you see. It's the perfect symbol for it.
Yeah, well, that's why I even got that from. I'm totally honest, took that from Empedocles, when he talks about it, Aphrodite being the flame dancing in the back of your eye. And I was like, that's why I threw Aphrodite in there, or supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, all those medieval artists that kept reproducing the birth of Venus, they were all drawing from that Empedocles reference when they were making it seem like an eyeball, like the inside of an eyeball inside that shell, So there's that sort of contrast between what you desire and what you see that I think that a lot of these people were playing off of, especially what we know of as the most popular version of the birth of Venus. It was almost drawn in 2D, almost like a Egyptian style, right? Because he was trying to show, hey, this thing that you're looking at, this is an object of your desire. It's not the totality of it. It's a little bit of a different sort of perspective.
Yeah. I hear your boy making some noises over there. This is the first time I've ever heard your cat.
Yeah, my buddy. He doesn't usually meow at me, but I guess this time he wanted some pettins. All right, so what do we have first on deck? Let's see your symbolism.
Yeah, mine is. I thought this was an interesting one. I even find it interesting. I mean, I'll get into it, but even Wikipedia acknowledges it in a certain way that I was just like, oh, that is very interesting. So what you have up on the screen is the one of the seal of Suleiman, which eventually turns into the seal of Solomon. Origins and first appearance. The seal of Suleiman is often identified with the six-pointed star, but in Arabic tradition, also drawn as a hexagram with Quranic inscriptions, talismanic squares, or angelic names. It emerged in the early Islamic mysticism and magical sciences. While its form echoes older Near Eastern and Jewish traditions, it becomes distinctly Arabic and Islamic from around the 9th and 10th centuries. when it is first recorded in magical and alchemical texts. The name comes the prophet Suleiman or Solomon, revered in Islam as a prophet king given command over jinn and nature by God. His seal became a mystical emblem of cosmic authority adopted by occultists, Sufis, and talisman makers. I'm going to switch over to another image. Oops, skipped ahead. This even came up as it, which I thought was really interesting because I'm pretty sure Headless has actually shown something very similar to this a few times on the show. I even had asked him, "Did you cover this?" Because I wanted to make sure. I'm like, did I forget? Because this image looks so fucking familiar. So, and he was like, "No, I haven't." And I was like, "All right, good," because I was just like looking at it, like, "Okay, I've seen this." So,
have you ever heard of emoji theory?
No. Oh no. That might be. I heard it. Maybe possibly that might be what Tyrone has talked about. Maybe so. But tell me what is this emoji theory?
Emoji theory states that all of the emojis you have in your emoji keyboard come from the Solomonic magic. So this one right here would be the guy with the two eyes that are like points, and then he's got the face like, uh-oh, something's happening. And so he's got the straight mouth across. And so, you know, the secret seal of Solomon is like the oops.
Yes. Yeah, I like that. Okay, where it was seen and used. It's been seen in medieval Arabic grimoires, the Shams al-Marif, Book of the Sun of Gnosis, the 13th century. That includes numerous seals and sigils attributed to Suleiman, and these often combine the hexagram, Quranic verses, and magic squares. The architecture and manuscripts, seals of Suleiman were inscribed on mosque walls, amulets, and Quranic bindings in medieval Islamic world, especially in Cairo and Baghdad. Ottoman talismans, 15th to 17th century. The seal became a dominant apotropic, I always fuck that word up, emblem, often printed on banners, weapons, and charms to ensure divine victory. In North Africa, Berber and Maghrebi amulets often have these hexagrams inscribed with the names of Allah and Quranic verses as protective sigils. Meaning in medieval usage, the seal carried layered significances. Suleiman used it for divine authority. He used it to command the jinn by God's will. His seal symbolized power over hidden forces and mastery of the unseen. It was used for protection as a talisman against the evil eye, illness, and malevolent spirits. Is in Islamic alchemy, the hexagram represented the union of fire and water, male and female, microcosm and macrocosm. There's another one we got up there. Certain Sufi orders use the seal in meditative diagrams linking it to geometry to divine unity and balance. How it's used today. In spiritual practices in parts of North Africa and South Asia, amulets with the seal of Suleiman are still carried for protection. In Sufi and esoteric orders, some groups continue to draw the seal in ritual context as meditation on God's names and cosmic harmony. In art and design, the hexagram seal is a reoccurring motif in Islamic calligraphy, carpets, and architecture, often filled with Arabic inscriptions. And in pop culture, sometimes confused with the Jewish Star of David, the Islamic seal of Suleiman is used in jewelry, tattoos, and artwork as general symbol of mysticism and magical protection. I got a couple other images. I don't know if that one shows up well. Got this one too. What I do find is interesting is that on Wikipedia, it does attribute that symbol to Israel's flag.
Right.
So this is how it's Islamic, but it's on this Israel flag. Okay. Interesting.
Well, I think what a lot of people don't understand about the Hebrew language is that it's Afro-Asiatic. Indo-European would be Indian and Europe, and Afro-Asiatic, obviously, much more Islamic. Right. So the seals in the Islamic culture are the same. And what's interesting about this one, really quickly.
Yeah, I wanted you to
go over
because I know you showed something that just like this too.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I promise. FBI. I wasn't me. I didn't do it. But this symbol over on the far left-hand side, the square with little squiggles on the outside, was drawn all over the trans shooter's rifle. All over it. I'm looking for an image right now of it. But that's exactly the symbol that they were using. You see far left-hand side right in the middle. The square with the squiggles on the corners.
Yeah.
That was all over the rifle. And I'm like, I've seen that before. What the fuck is that?
Oh, wait. All right. I just want to make sure if this is the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
This one?
There, that's the one. That's the one. That was drawn all over the thing. So there might be a Kabbalah angle for this whole thing that we haven't really gotten. So how many more trans days of rage do we need for the Kabbalah to start being looked at?
Yo, I mean, that's it. Yo, I mean, I've even seen other people saying it now too, but like, yo, for real. How many of these last kind of mass shootings have been from that, whatever? I mean, how many more do we have to have that we're just going to ignore it? Again, I'm not saying like, oh, we got to go round up every person like that, but obviously there's something to fuck there. And if these things are staged, what are they saying by constantly using these people? There is something with that. Either you're trying to say something, or they're more susceptible to being MK Ultra. There's some reason why they're there. Not just per chance or coincidence. Like, like Ricardo says, coincidence takes planning.
Yep.
These people, there's planning, and these types of people are being used for some reason. I mean, even look at the Zizians, a whole other thing on its own.
And then I would suggest going back into the classical antiquity and start looking at how many times they use the eunuchs. Everybody's talking about eunuchs, and there's no real reason why so many people are cutting off their junk. Is there ever an explanation for that? We don't see it.
That's
but somehow, in the book of Acts, they talk about having long conversations with this Ethiopian eunuch, and he's somehow connected to royalty, right? The government. What is going on with that? So the government was using eunuchs back then for anything they wanted to, and nobody's talking about why the government back then would want to use eunuchs, and what we see today where the government is using eunuchs. It's really close to a one-to-one comparison, right? We're kind of discovering what's happening in the past.
All we need is Daenerys to show up now. From Game of Thrones. Did you ever watch Game of Thrones? She had that eunuch army.
Yeah, I did. She did have the eunuch army. Again, they were trying to describe why they would want eunuchs, right? These people can't breed, so they have to fight to the death. That's what they assumed, right? But there could be something deeper and more psychological about it than what we're getting today. I mean, they were trying to come up with something. And didn't she fall in love with like the commander of one of the eunuch armies or something?
Yeah, she did. Yeah. He must have had a strong head game.
Yeah. Yeah.
He can touch his eyebrows with his tongue, I guess.
But that almost encompasses all of the psychological angles as well, There's some sort of strong head game with these people.
You know what the thing is, that even makes me think of like what possibly is being symbolized in the Gnostic Mass. I mean, the guy's just going down on her. There's actually no, male penetration.
It could be. I mean, there's so much about the female orgasm that is associated with the oracle that really
insanity.
Well, that was more of like a 19th century thing, right? So they had hysteria. What is hysteria? It's because you've got a womb, and so therefore it makes you crazy. But back then it wasn't seen like that. It was like, you've got a womb, therefore that puts you in touch with the divine. And I think a lot of what the ancients saw as like the division between man and woman was the woman is receptive and the man is projective.
Oh yeah, well that's even Kabbalah basics right there.
Right.
Dualism, really. Magnetic project. Fuck. I'm sorry.
What happens when you make the projective receptive? Right there, you go. You've got that dichotomy there that maybe people understood and used back then, and now it's getting used again. What happens when you make the projective receptive? And so these basic alchemical and magical principles might be being used again.
Well, that would almost be like a black hole. It's going to project, blast out. It's going to create itself and then sink back in.
Like a black hole, chaos, right? That's the idea. That's the idea. If you're taking it to a sociological bend, you can really see the benefit of that. I've got chaos anytime I need it. I've got eunuchs everywhere.
I was going to say you just put on the news, but
right. But that's the same thing. You know, so there could be something deeply mystical about this. We don't know how delicate the balance is and how close it is related to nature.
I even think a lot of it's just the symbolism. I guess I think it all goes back to like showing that you know, the hermaphrodite sits there, and that's Tahuti. He's the hero's journey. There's going to be death involved.
Right. Right. And they know it. And from their ivory towers, they're like, it's okay to mess with the balance because we can use it to our advantage. But how long does that work? How long does that hold out?
Yeah, I think that's when you start to imposing your will onto nature. That just doesn't work out well.
Right. We're part of nature. We're part of nature. We can't deny it.
Just the nature of the way this ecosystem should work on its own.
Right. So, you know, taking it back
has no problem. The planet can keep it regulated itself. Humans fuck it up.
Right. Right. And we do it in the most horrific ways over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's right, bro.
But, you know, nature always finds its balance. And what we end up finding is that the current system we have will be balanced by nature. And that nature is oftentimes us. That's just the way things go. And all of the numerology and all of the spells you cast, it doesn't stop that from happening. We have to achieve rebalance. And I don't think we're going to do that with transhumanism and inserting microchips into our brain. That's not going to do it. It's almost like that's the bridge too far right now. But we're looking at the bridge, and the bridge is manned with eunuchs. And that bridge is not pretty, and we don't want to go over that bridge. And so a lot of people have rejected it. But does that mean that they lost complete control? And it's almost like they're ready for the pushback, you know, because they've got this army of people who don't necessarily see themselves as people. They see themselves as something other than that. It's interesting. It's interesting. I think
all in the guise of altruism.
Right. I think that the two main components of magic, the basic polarity is tension and release. Tension and release.
Well, you nailed it,
right?
Man. I think, yeah.
That's it, right? So the way I got to this was, I think I probably brought it up last episode. We were talking about the tea that I was making for college. Right? I would have these occult meetings. One of the guys there, he was a staunch atheist, but he still showed up to the meetings for some reason. And he's like, take your finger and push as hard as you possibly can without moving your finger. Keep pushing as hard as you possibly can without moving your finger. That's the tension. And then without moving at all, you can have a release of that same finger without ever moving it. Tension and release is not associated with movement. It's something internal.
Yeah, I like where you're going with that. That's interesting.
You see? So when you've got that ability to do and to see the tension and release within yourself, that's when you can really start using magic to its fullest extent. It's because that tension and release within yourself is more real than the rest of the universe, and you're using it. And we end up getting used by it. They can induce the tension. They can induce the release. These two things don't have to be the way they are if you have control over that within yourself.
I think that even really goes back to my physical experiences before I crossed the abyss. Even on my pineal gland, it feels like, you know, I'm pushing on it all of a sudden. At one point, it feels like whatever my pressure was is now coming back towards me, even though did it. It's like it switched polarity. It's fucking weird.
Right.
And again, you almost goes to that black hole thing again. You know, it's just fucking, yeah.
Think about the beat structure for any song. tension and release. All of these things, frequency, tension and release. It's all tension and release. That's one of the big sort of revelations I've come to this week. It's just, it's so perfect. It's like you don't have to describe anything else other than tension and release to cover everything in the universe. Potential energy, kinetic energy.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when you
release.
said that. It was shit like that. I was like, yo, that's like really fuck. Well, I really like that way of saying it.
Yeah. Well, here's a good example of that.
Even works with Jack Parsons.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
That's the fundamental polarity. And this is what I brought for my symbol, which is the Southern Cross.
Nice.
Tension and release, the cross, right? You're talking about, you know, let's say with the energetic layout of the planet Earth, right? The energy flows into the north, right? This is why we have the North Pole that takes your compass and then orients it to the north. It's taking in energy, right? That's what the North Pole is. And that energy comes out at the South Pole. And this would be the South Pole stars, right? This is the Southern Cross. Now, it's interesting that the Southern Hemisphere has really derivative and unoriginal type mythology and constellations, because, you know, obviously most of the people who are studying the stars were doing so from the Northern Hemisphere, and they weren't really looking at the Southern Hemisphere so much. So when they got around to naming the constellations, they just sort of went with derivatives. But I think the Southern Cross is a good example of what's coming through the planet with magnetism, right? It's the crossing of the celestial and the earthly, because all of that earthly energy is coming at the bottom of that pole, right? So through the bottom of the pole, that's when it crosses as it's coming through the celestial energy. So it's being distributed. It returns back to the apple-shaped torus.
Right, but again, we're back to the same thing.
Top again. Right. Tension and release. And so the Southern Cross, I think, is it a good example of very specifically choosing which stars to be associated with this, because you can see in the middle of that cross you've got two stars, and if you've got the same sort of heuristics to find where these things are, then you don't really need the cross asterism as the basis. You could just say, well, there's these two points that are right at the middle of the Southern Cross, and we could just say that that's the polarity or whatever, make their own thing. But instead, they decided to go with these four stars, which almost makes more sense because you've got that crossing of energies that's coming out from the southern tip of the Earth right there. So I think the Southern Cross is a really significant example of well-placed and well thought out asterisms. Because, you know, you could choose anything as an asterism. You could have had the Southern Triangle, you know, you've got three stars in there. Why not? But they had to go with the cross because that has to be symbolic of the energies that are being experienced at the far southern tip of this sort of celestial earthly energy crossover. So that's my first symbol. What do you think?
I was wondering if these, like, the circles are actually like in size of like how big they think they are. Because I do find it interesting how like each one of them, I guess they're not going to be perfect, but like they both kind of look like, you know, like one smaller and one obviously bigger. I was just realizing that that's interesting to me. It's almost like they look like a double of themselves.
It seems like it's at an angle. Like one side of the cross is further back than the other, and it's
yeah. It almost looks three-dimensional, and it's on a side tilt.
Right.
Yeah. No, I do like this.
For being derivative, I think they were going for the pure symbolic nature of it, and they weren't attaching any stories to them. So the Southern Hemisphere constellations are less I guess, mythologically driven and more symbolically driven. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was even wondering if you like start connecting other stars over here by it, would you end up getting other symbols?
Oh,
Maybe not.
definitely.
Like even
Well,
like the cross,
Centaurus.
the cross with like the thing wrapped around it. Like I could see you maybe making that with like connecting these stars, like the shit wrapping around the cross. I don't know.
Absolutely. There could be snakes wrapping
Yeah,
around the cross.
yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah.
But I think it's interesting that the cross in the middle of everything has the polarity, right? On the X and the
top
Y
bottom,
axis.
yeah. There's
Right. You've got that sort of in there as well.
even
But like
showing
the different
boundaries,
emanations. Go ahead.
even kind of showing boundaries, beginning and end to both, both sides.
Right. Right. There's more to these asterisms than people give them credit for. And I think once you can, sort of get into the asterism and understand that it could be several other things, like these are stick figures. How in the hell do most of the stick figures we see in the Northern Hemisphere actually equate to this mythology we see in Greek, whatever? Like they had to be on another level to actually name these asterisms and make the shapes out of these different stars and put them into their place. Like that was a thousands and thousands of year long process that doesn't get any appreciation because they're just like, well, they're just stick figures. Well, there's an interplay between those stick figures and the culture.
Where they got them from.
Right. Right. So I think it's almost like these asterisms are our view, our cultural view of the divine. And we see them replayed over and over again in mythology. And, people like Socrates got killed over that. He said, you'll never escape mythology. And then they're like, take that back, you blasphemer. And instead of taking it back, he decided to drink the poison. He was perfectly willing to drink the poison because he knew he was right. And everything we've seen since has been, yeah, we're stuck in mythology. He was correct. He wasn't saying you'll ever get out. We're stuck in it. That's okay. I think that's fine. I mean, really, what difference does it make if we are stuck in mythology or not? If we're stuck in it, then, whatever. But I think people got so offended at the idea that he would suggest such a thing that they got upset, which is common. So what do you have for the next symbol here?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I got another one. Did you,
Ooh.
yeah, let me see. The next one. Yeah, oh, yeah, there we got it up. Nice, very good. Another Arabic one. I was going with the Arabic stuff tonight, just to change it up a little different. The Tugra, that is the Sultan's sigil. The Tugra is a ruler's monogram, seal, or signature in Arabic script. It was designed at the start of a sultan's reign, and then stamped or painted on firmans, royal edicts, deeds, letters, coins, seals, and even buildings. The visual signature of imperial authority. While famous in the Ottoman Empire, similar monograms appear in neighboring courts later on. I guess classical anatomy, how to read one. The classical Ottoman Tugra has named parts you can point out in art or on coins. They'll normally be stacked script spelling the Sultan's name, his father's name, titles, and often the motto. God, I don't even know how to say this. Ever victorious. I'm not even going to try to say it any other way. Sometimes there'll be bays or eggs. The two big ovals on the left, some sources read them as the two seas, the Mediterranean or the Black. The tugs, the three vertical shafts rising at the top, or Zulfi, are the S curves across them. Answer, the dagger, is the right sweeping stroke. And these, functionally, a Tugra was hard to counterfeit. A standard version was kept by the Chancery, while illuminated show versions headed. What the fuck? All right, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused here with some of the notes I have. My bad. I'm gonna skip that. First appearances and early dates. All right, 1324 to 1362, you'll have the reign of Orhan. That is some of the earliest surviving Tugras that belonged to him. Then in 1431, a carved Tugra of Murad II is still visible at the Heptapygion Fortress. These names, man, and that's it's right outside Istanbul. Then in 1520 and around 1566, you have Suleiman the First, and you see him using it. And then now you also see it on paper. Again, like I mentioned before, every firman carried the reigning sultan's Tugra at its head. And it was used in courts again. It was you put on coins, especially in the Ottoman area. They had that on the coins. And again, it was on buildings, like I said. Basically, again, what it meant was a signature of sovereignty, a visual stamp that validated orders, guaranteed authenticity. The Ottoman equivalent of a royal cipher or a cartouche. It was also the evolving, highly stylized, projected power, wealth, and artistic virtuosity of the court. Yeah, I guess that's about it for that. Let me see if I think I have other images I could show real quick. There it is on coins. There's another older. There's some of the names I was mentioning before. Here they are on this one. I just wasn't skipping the images while I was going this time.
Oh, interesting. It's like a flow chart. Like you're seeing where it goes from one section to the other, and then all of it is put in the context of the language. That again, you know, the Arabic language, the reason why it flows into one another so well is because of the fact that it's supposed to be geometric in nature.
I find this stuff
So it's almost like a spaceship.
Yeah.
Right. One of the ways that they explain like space travel is through solar sailing. Right. And so they've got these massive sails that pick up all the ions being emitted from the sun and then using that to sail outside of the galaxy because they don't have the.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man. You've got sort of like a schematic almost. Right. And you've got the heat loss from the top. That's interesting.
I mean, I say it all the time, and it's like I'm even including myself on this. There isn't enough Arabic stuff I think even covered or acknowledged. There's tons of stuff when it comes to occultism, occult symbolism, and especially alchemy, where we're sleeping on the Islamic shit or the Arabic shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's even people in the OTO who were dressing up in Islamic fucking outfits when they were like kind of in charge of the place. So like, what's up with that?
Well, my second symbol is the Sonnenrad.
Oh.
And I think the Sonnenrad represents a symbol that people have not fully accepted what the defined meaning is, right? And I'll give you examples. So first off, we've got a Sonnenrad, which is, oh man. Oh, they're all the wrong format.
Oh shit! You want to send them over to me, and I'll try to. Oh wait, I'll have to convert them anyway, right? What is it? I'll see if I can pull it up on my end anyway.
Just look up Sonnenrad PNG, and you'll see all of the different styles that they have for the Sonnenrad. They can't figure out if it's Greek, if it's solar. They have no base, and sometimes you'll see the Sonnenrad in the axe. But it's widely agreed upon that this symbol came about with the Nazis. So they don't really have like the provenience, right?
Oh,
so
you know what? The thing that's used is the black sun.
Right, the black sun, the 12 spoke swastika.
Yeah. Holy shit! Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I got it.
So there's lots of different styles of that black sun swastika, but nobody really knows exactly what it's supposed to mean because the guy who made it is gone. He was a war criminal. They put him in jail. They killed him, whatever. And so the guy who made this symbol is no longer there to dictate what it means. So all we have is what people interpret it as. So it's a potent symbol. People could tell it's got a lot of power, but they don't exactly know why. And they're trying to apply it to their own thing. So like like we were talking about in the Nazi symbolism episode, is this a polar symbol or a solar symbol? Right? Do we know where these
Could it be both?
Through? It could be, exactly. But people are trying to ascribe their own interpretations to the symbol. And they say the 12 rays of the sun equal the 12 rays of the zodiac, right?
Got it down at the bottom for you there, buddy. I mean, I'll even say myself included when it starts coming to this symbolism and stuff, I think we're looking at it wrong. Or there's so much more behind it than what I myself even understand.
Well, something interesting is none of the spokes of the wheel would be representative of runes, right? Any individual one couldn't really be considered to be part of the elder Futhark or even the younger Futhark. So it's kind of different. They do have the six-spoked wheel, which is a very common Northern European symbol that they use in wheel motifs, right? And the six-spoked wheel is representative of a different class of people. Obviously, this is double that. And so the black sun, right, which could be Sirius. So for 7 months, I think it's 7 months out of the year, Sirius is behind the sun. So we don't see it at night. And so they've called Sirius for thousands of years the black sun. And we see Sirius popping up over and over and over again in occult symbolism. But they never really, call it the black sun. They call it the secret sun, right? It's not really the black sun. It's something else. So it's not really Sirius, but it is kind of solar in nature because you've got the 12 spokes. But it could be something else. So it's not fully understood yet. And people are trying on Etsy, especially, to make it their own. So I think it's kind of one of these things that, we're seeing come into, obviously it came through the Nazis. So it has to be some sort of Northern symbolism. It has to be kind of associated with the Northern climes, since, Nordicism and Nazism and everything else is sort of like a callback to this Hyperborean ideal. It's sort of a romanticism. Like this is the thing behind the thing. This is the thing that we think behind the thing, but we're not really sure what it means. What would you say? What does it say to you?
I think it's like, it's almost, how does it sound cheesy? It almost like kind of reminds me of like a Mayan calendar where it's like almost like something that's like even in stages of time. You kind of a little bit like what you were saying at the beginning. Is it some polar symbol or solar thing? And I think it could be, possibly both, or it's like showing some, I don't know. It's, again, I'm even confused on the symbolism. I do see a solar sigil in there already. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the circumpunct is in there.
Donald speaking right to you.
All these angles coming out of it. Yeah, and an eyeball. Yeah.
Pretty much any circle can be an eyeball, right? It's got that same kind of thing, but like this almost seems like a stress.
You know how many church domes even like right here have that kind of like style in them?
Think about the apotheosis of George Washington inside of the Capitol building. He's got the 12 Olympians all around him as he's ascending to godhood. Right? So it's sort of like an ascension symbol as well. So all of the 12, energies are coming into George Washington and making him a god. That's apotheosis. Yeah. So that it could be a symbol of apotheosis, but it's all very open to interpretation. And even though it's on the floors of a castle over in Germany, do we really know exactly what the meaning of this thing is? Is it eternal? That's the real question, because a lot of the symbols we bring up have this sense of eternality.
Yes, yeah. I think, yeah,
but I think it
goes for this for sure. It's almost like an eternal symbol,
right? It's speaking to something, and I think a lot of different people are trying to make that thing what they're about, and they don't exactly know what that thing is.
I like
It's almost
Don's
like
Iris and Pupil. Iris and Pupil. I like that one too, Don. You can see that.
Yeah, it's got that feel to it. It's got that feel to it. I don't know, man. It's kind of up for interpretation, and a lot of people have their own interpretations on the Sonnenrad, and it goes across different cultures. And I think it's probably going to replace the swastika. I think this might be the purpose of it, is to replace the 4-spoked swastika with a 12-spoked thing, because it almost incorporates both the solar and the polar. It's almost like the union of these two ideas that, you know, Mario talks about all the time. There was that shift between polar and solar, and now this is like the unification of those two ideas.
Yeah, honestly, you got away with using this too a little bit easier than a swastika.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, you show this to any group of normies, and one guy's going to go Nazi.
Oh yeah, you think so? Okay.
Oh yeah,
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Clinically online culture, they're going to be like, "That's a Nazi symbol. Got to get rid of it," which makes it almost more alluring. It's like, this is going to trigger somebody. This is going to make somebody really upset.
People on Azov were wearing this shit. That was another thing. I was like, yo, this is so obvious. What the fuck's going on now?
Right. I mean, it originated in the 1930s, you know? So obviously they're going to be all about that. They're going to be putting the Sonnenrad on everything. This is the origination point, and they're going to be like, we own this. And a lot of other people are going to be like, I can do something else with that, and I'm going to do something else with that. It's kind of like the swastika. Once the swastika was tainted, all these other people are like, no, that's our symbol. Even North American Indians were like, that's our symbol. You can't say this is Nazism, because again, it spread so quickly. It's like the S, you know, the S, the stylized S that almost looks like a figure 8. It's kind of like that, you know? And when you put that stylized S over the Kabbalah tree, it fits perfectly, you know? So there's this callback to geometry and basic ideas of form that end up bringing about certain meanings. And I think, you know, artistic understanding of these things is important, because we're conceptual creatures. And once we've got that conception, you know, it sticks with us for a long time.
I agree.
So what do you guys think? Do you like the concept of having a symbolism potluck? Because I'd love to have more people come on.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't so random, we actually could have got more people from the show on. It was just kind of like we had the idea earlier today.
Yeah, this is your idea. You shouted over to me, and I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Symbolism potluck.
Yeah, I was like, yo, that's so easy too. Like, especially for people who fuck with the occult, like half the show, like you should have symbols in your head that you can just play random.
Right.
Talk about.
These are usable. Yeah. These have purpose in your own life if you can make them that. But do you want to or not? You know, that's the real question. It takes discipline. Engaging with symbols takes discipline. And I think showing the symbols gets people into the idea that you can commit to these things. We're just geometry in motion, in form, you know? So it would make sense that we would connect with these symbols on a much deeper level than we even fully understand right now. You know, I think there's something to it.
I definitely agree with that, sir.
Well,
yes, we
are. I think that's good. I mean, do you want to?
Unless you have any mail that you want to read, let's put you on the spot. I think we're good for the. Obviously, we both did 2 things each.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think this is a good example of what we want to kind of do. If any listeners want to come up with their own symbol potluck, I think that would be a great opportunity. Gets you introduced, lets you interact with the different people that you watch, and maybe, you know, expand your influence. I think that's always a good thing. So if you've got any symbols and you want to bring them to the symbolic potluck, I think that would be great for everybody, I think.
Yeah. We could even pull up like stuff on the meaning of it, whatever. Yeah, for sure. And if anybody has any stories, send them over to Headless. Give them the address. They'll send it to me, and I will mail you out some stickers.
headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com, and I will shoot it over to Nick and tell you that I'm getting stories. So if you want stickers and you got stories, we can make a trade.
Yeah.
Headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com.
Definitely.
There
I
you
see Flower. I see Flower in the chat. I think Flower. That might have been somebody. Flower grabbed 2 shirts off me today. I think it might be the same person. Maybe not.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Flower's
yeah.
great. She always watches these. Thank you, Flower, so much for joining in.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure. And check out where the events will be at. And you want any T-shirts? Let me know. Hit me up. And yeah, thank you. I had a good time tonight.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me, Nick. Thank you for joining me, everybody in the chat. This has been a great episode. This has been a symbolism potluck. So if you want to join in, just let me know and we'll get you on there with your symbols. Esoteric as hell. I love esoteric symbols, stuff I've never seen before. That's what Nick always brings. He's like,
right.
Yeah,
shit that I didn't even really know about. I tried finding something new. Yeah.
Absolutely. Find something new, bring it in. It's great. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you again next time. I'm going to be here on Sunday morning with the Trialogues with Ethan and Ricardo. Thank you. And we'll see you again next time.